Let's say Donald Trump came in. He somehow gets elected. Somehow he beats the system. And he gets elected. He gets inaugurated. On day one, Donald Trump becomes a dictator. What does that look like?
What, in my fantasy? What does it look like?
I would love for you to go there.
In my fantasy,
they're
all going to gulags that they've already started building for us, and now they're the ones who are going to it. We have buses that go around rounding up illegal immigrants.
Wow.
And mass deporting them.
Dig it.
I'm just saying, you can't call me that. My last name's Gonzales.
Yeah, but you don't spell it right. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Chad Prather Show. You know, I don't like this camera angle. It's so weird. I feel like you're looking at my double chin. Do not look at my double chin. Do not look at this. Look in the eyes. Look in the eyes. Okay, people, you know where you are. You know why you're here. So you can be educated with this insightful stuff that we're going to give you on this show today. But before we get into that, I need you to go, or remember to go, to where podcasts are offered. Leave a rating. Leave a review. Don't care what you say, but we need 5 stars. But say something, okay? Drive us up the charts. Joining me today on this program, and I'm a little nervous to even introduce her because I just don't even know that I want to hear her say anything because it's going to get me in trouble. Sara Gonzales.
Hi.
What's up?
Well, thanks for having me. I also would just like to say, look up here. Okay.
I saw a picture that you sent me over Independence Day while you were out at the lake with your family. And let me just tell you, I saw that picture, Sara, and as a brother in Christ, the first thing that I looked at was not your eyes, okay? All right?
It was my hat.
It was not your hat. It was nowhere above the neck. I'm just going to confess my sins, all right? And I texted you. I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? Tell your husband to get you under control.
He can't.
He can't.
There's no getting me under control.
I don't think people understand that about you. Like, I think
Really?
I think people wonder if it's an act.
Oh.
It's so not an act.
I mean, I'll let you... People, they won't believe me if I tell them, so I'll just let you speak
back the first time I ever laid eyes on you, years ago. I mean, laid eyes on you. You know who just texted me right here? Kyle Rittenhouse just texted me.
Did he?
He texted me, and you know what? It's a response from 3 days ago.
That's about right.
That's Kyle Rittenhouse, for those of you who don't know. So anyway, I gave his contact to a friend. I said, we want you to be involved in this thing that's going on. 3 days it takes him. 3 days. Anyway, side note. First time I ever laid eyes on you, I think you were doing, first time I paid attention to laying eyes on you.
Okay.
I'd seen you. You were doing a clip with Graham Allen. It was a remote clip. He was somewhere, you were somewhere else. And I go, this girl's feisty. Like, this girl is feisty. Like, I knew of you, but at the time, we didn't know each other.
Right.
We knew of each other. This was years ago. You're doing a clip with Graham Allen, and I was like, she's not really like that. Honey. Can I say to the general worldwide audience out there that as arguably her best friend on the planet, I mean, somebody that when I wake up at 3 o'clock in the morning, I send her a text message. I don't even care if I wake up her husband. I mean, she'll probably text me right back. That happened actually this morning. She's that way. You're that way.
I am.
It ain't an act.
No, it's not.
I never want to be on your bad side, and everybody knows that. The reason I said what I said at the beginning is it's going to get me in trouble when you start talking is because as soon as my mother hears that you and I are going to be together, she goes, oh, no. I was talking to my mother on the phone the other day. Shout out to Mom. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Mom.
I was talking to her on the phone the other day, driving up here to Dallas. And I said, I'm going on Sarah's show tomorrow. And she said, oh, no. She's scared of us
Mom.
together. She's scared of us together. Particularly when we add alcohol. She likes to blame the alcohol. It's not the alcohol. It's just us.
It's just us.
So we're drinking water, and we're going to prove, Mom, that we can go off the rails with H2O.
Totally sober.
Just H2O. I mean, we're
literally do it every day.
All right. A threat to democracy. That's the phrase that's out there right now. A threat to democracy. Donald Trump, former real estate mogul, TV personality of a reality show, former president of the United States, but that's besides the point. I mean, forget the fact he's going to be dictator on day one. That's what they're saying. And now he's already been president. He didn't try to be dictator then.
I didn't see any dictatory moves.
There was some dick moves, but there was no dictator moves.
No.
Okay?
No.
So my question to you is, what are your thoughts on the idea that, let's just play a hypothetical.
Okay.
All right? I'm going to stretch your imagination here. Let's say Donald Trump came in. He somehow gets elected. Somehow he beats the system. And he gets elected. He gets inaugurated. On day one, Donald Trump becomes a dictator. What does that look like?
What, in my fantasy, what does it look like?
I would love for you to go there.
In my fantasy,
they're
they're all going to gulags that they've already started building for us, and now they're the ones who are going to it. We have buses that go around rounding up illegal immigrants and mass deporting them.
Bigot.
I'm just saying, you can't call me that. My last name's Gonzales.
Yeah, but you don't spell it right. I think you got to have the Z on the end of it.
You can blame Ellis Island for that.
Yeah. So they just start rounding up illegals, deporting them.
Yes, deporting them. I mean, look, we have a president now who is ruling by executive order. So I say, hey, you guys set the precedent. We might as well carry it through. So we're becoming energy independent again. He's going to do everything by executive order because I have been reliably informed that even if the Supreme Court says you're not allowed to do this, we can just do it anyway. Because that's what Joe Biden's taught us, right?
Well, I mean, something as simple as college loan forgiveness.
That's right. Yeah, right.
Doesn't matter what the Supreme Court said. Joe Biden said we're going to do it. Here's billions of dollars.
Yep. A moratorium on rent as well.
Moratorium on rent.
Yeah. So I just, I think look, if you guys want him to be a dictator, and you remember where this came from, right? He jokingly said.
On Sean Hannity.
Right. He jokingly said, oh yeah, I'm going to become a dictator on day one because they're constantly accusing him of doing this, even though we were way more free under Donald Trump than we are right now under Joe Biden, who is literally weaponizing every single government agency against conservatives, who is literally trying to engage in election interference to remove his top political opponent from the ballot so that we don't have a choice while also claiming to care about democracy.
Well, listen, kids, I'm going to say it again. I repeat myself a lot because I want it to really sink in. What they're saying and accusing you of, what they're saying about you and accusing you of is
what they're doing.
Is what they're doing.
They are the party of projection. That is the Democrats.
It is Saul Alinsky's Rules for Radicals. You take what you're in, you take what you want to project onto your enemy, and that's one of the deals. You what you're doing, you project onto them.
Right.
They've always done it, and it would seem that after the debate, June 27th, that some people suddenly their eyes were opened to realize. I'll get back to that. Hang on, before you comment on that, because I want to come back to that and spend some time there. But their eyes are suddenly open to the condition of their president, Joe Biden. What you alluded to there, Donald Trump in that interview with Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity says, everybody says you're going to be a dictator. And he goes, only on day one. And so it was a joke because Hannity immediately knew the soundbite was going to bite him in the ass. Because Hannity immediately started saying, no, but you're kidding when you say that.
Right.
Do you think that is an example of, oops, I put my foot in my mouth, or Donald Trump saying, this is something they're going to talk about from now on, and I'm going to put it out there?
I think that he definitely knows what he's doing anytime he says something.
I wonder, but then again, he's so good at doing it, putting it out there.
He is, but I also think that he very much, whatever he's thinking comes out, right? But I think that he does it in more of a humorous way, knowing that his base will laugh, just like you and I assume you did, just like I did whenever I watched it, just like, okay. But you know how the left is going to take the bait. And I think that's sometimes his point is, I just want to let him take the bait. Just let him take the bait because my people know me. They know what I'm about. They've heard my rallies. They understand this is how I talk. And the left is going to go crazy. And we can be the reasonable party and say, he was our president for 4 years. Did he become a dictator? Did you guys get to elect someone else? Is your guy currently in the White House?
But
it seems like
their pushback is always going to be, yeah, but he never conceded the election.
I mean, he moved out of the White House, didn't he?
His stuff ain't still there.
Is he still knocking on the door trying to get in? Because last I checked, he moved out and lives at Mar-a-Lago now.
He hasn't put together a militia. You guys know that I love Patriot Mobile. They are good friends and great patriots. And, they realize that Americans are tired. They're tired and frustrated by the stalling economy, the inflation, the endless wars, the relentless assault on our values. And thankfully, folks over at Patriot Mobile, they got your back. They still believe in America. They believe in our Constitution. And I'm so proud over the years to have partnered with them and continue to do it because Patriot Mobile, they're on the front lines, man. They're putting their money where their mouth is, and they're fighting for the First and Second Amendments, the sanctity of life, our military and first responder heroes. I want you to take a stand with them on conservative causes and put America first by switching over to Patriot Mobile today. You're going to get the same nationwide coverage as the big providers because Patriot Mobile, they operate on all three major networks, plus they back their service with a full coverage guarantee. Their 100% U.S.-based customer service team will take care of you. They will find the best plan for your needs. You can keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade, and they'll help. Go to patriotmobile.com/Chad or call them 972-PATRIOT. You do it right now, you get a free month when you use the offer code CHAD. I spell it Chad. Use that offer code and don't get fooled by the other providers pretending to share your values or have the same coverage. They don't, and they can't. So join me. Switch to America's only Christian conservative mobile provider. That's Patriot Mobile. Go to patriotmobile.com/Chad. Call them 972-PATRIOT. Get your free month of service today. Use that promo code Chad. Hang tight. We'll be right back. A dictator, according to Oxford's dictionary, whatever this is a ruler with total power over a country, typically one who has obtained control by force. They say January 6th was an attempt for him to control the country by force.
Well, he was not in all of these 91 indictments, remember, he's never actually, none of his charges are insurrection.
Nothing. And no one who's in jail today for January 6th has ever been charged with insurrection either.
Right. So that's a cute little talking point. But in actuality, if that was the case, people would have been brought up for charges, especially the guy that you guys are claiming started it all. I would think would need to be brought up on insurrection charges if, in fact, it were a true insurrection at all.
But there were so many guns.
Which there weren't. Right. That's the argument, right? I mean, we are the side with all the guns. You'd think that if we were planning some takeover, some coup, we probably would have brought them all.
Also, when the Secret Service was driving him in the presidential limousine back to the White House, he found out about his planned coup d'etat happening at the Capitol building. Mm-hmm. And in order to go lead in solidarity like Napoleon, his mass horde of barbarians into the Capitol to overthrow and stop the election process and hang Mike Pence, he grabbed a Secret Service agent and by the neck and grabbed the steering wheel to turn it. He's at the time, 75 years old?
Right.
And he turns he's by force going to take over the Secret Service limousine and drive back to the Capitol.
Except, oops, that didn't happen either.
Do we know it didn't happen? I mean, really? I mean, it sounds believable.
No. I mean, maybe if you're a crazy liberal, they don't need any sort of sense to believe any of the things they believe. So, yeah, maybe if you don't have a brain.
But the stuff they push out there, and the projection that's on there. 2 weeks ago, at the time of this taping, now when this comes out, we'll see, and I'm going to do the same with some other guests that come in to the place later on today. We'll see how good of a prognosticator we are. Okay. 2 weeks ago, they raised, $25-30 million for Joe Biden in his campaign. Mm-hmm. It was spearheaded by the likes of George Clooney, Julia Roberts, some other Hollywood elites. Barack Obama was there. He led him off stage, like a little old man. Mm-hmm. And now Clooney comes out and says, hey, he's not in good shape. Like, we got to get somebody younger. Like, this isn't the guy I met in 2016. This isn't the guy I met, or back in 2010. This isn't the guy that I met in even 2020. He's a senile old man. So George Clooney, let me just give you this here. So I wrote this right here. I said, just weeks ago, George Clooney raised over $28 million for Joe Biden and now has come out and said that Joe shouldn't run for president. I guess George Clooney steals other people's money in real life, too. A little Ocean's 11.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's great.
So,
yeah, apparently. I mean, imagine paying so little attention to a presidential candidate you're willing to raise that much money for that you don't see that he's dying and haven't seen that he's been dying for the last 3.5 years as we've watched him on a world stage slowly descent into this tiny, bumbling, senile old man. And it's like, oh, I'm sorry, June 27th was your wake-up call? Where have you been? That's what I don't understand about any of this. Like, what was it? What was the defining moment for you? Because that's the same Joe that I've been watching for the last 4 or 5 years.
Right. I've seen it. You've seen it. What happened?
Right. So what was your light bulb moment after you raised $28 million?
Shit.
You weren't paying attention. It wasn't important enough to pay attention when you thought to yourself, I'm going to spend millions of dollars to fundraise so that Joe can get millions of dollars. That wasn't the moment that you went, maybe I should check and make sure that I actually am all in on this guy. Yeah. But that just goes to show you how fake all of this is, how fake Hollywood is.
Well, if I'm going to be engaged in a fundraiser for any cause, I'm going to find out who it is, what it's all about. Is it a worthy cause?
Am I sure that I want to put my name?
Yeah.
I mean, you think about, I've endorsed people before. I make damn sure.
I've endorsed people and it backfire because I'm like, that's why I hate when people say, well, you endorse so-and-so. And I'm like, hang on a second.
Right.
Like, I like you, but I don't know this person you're asking me to endorse.
Right.
And it's like, well, and then everybody jumps your ass.
Yeah.
Well, what about this candidate? So you try to vet all of that.
I mean, a reasonable person would.
And if I'm going to raise $30 million for a candidate.
You'd think the vetting is coming before that point.
Big time. Yeah. I mean, I called all of my elitist pals to come in there. I don't know about you guys, but, George Clooney, he's got a lake house on Lake Como in Italy, and he's going to jump on his private jet, come back over here and raise $30 million with his Hollywood pals. But you know who his best buddy is, George Clooney. You know who his best buddy is? Like, they get on the yacht together and they pal around all the time. It's Barack Obama. Mm-hmm. So now I'm wondering, is this Obama rallying his troops to turn on old Joe?
I think so. I think that that's the most reasonable assumption. I mean, that's what I've been reading behind the scenes is going on anyway, is that Obama is quietly going to all of his allies within the Democrat Party saying, you guys, you got to get Joe out. I mean, remember, Barack Obama has been saying this about Joe Biden for a very long time. Barack Obama was like one of the last people to endorse Joe Biden. He waited until Joe Biden was the only man left in the race in the Democrat Party before he finally said, oh, you know what? I endorse Joe Biden. It didn't come before. He waited until he no longer could stay silent. And he was on the record as saying, never underestimate the ability for Joe to F things up. So this was all before the 2020 election. You can't imagine that that's gotten better for him.
Let me be clear. Never underestimate Joe's ability to fuck something up. That was sort of Bill Clinton, but
it was.
He probably said it too.
So you've got to imagine Obama's
to try to push Michael in. You think?
Big Mike?
Big Mike.
No, actually, I don't think that Obama wants that. I don't think either of the Obamas want Big Mike. Maybe Barack does. I don't think Big Mike wants it.
I posted that clip. You posted that clip of the joke I made on your show about that whole scenario.
Yeah.
And I agree. I don't think Big Mike wants it.
You just think there's no other option.
I just think that she will do whatever they tell she to do. That's because we made you.
Right.
We built you.
Yeah.
You'd still be living in suburban Chicago.
Yeah.
If we hadn't handpicked you.
Right.
And said, okay, we're going to give you this. We're going to put you in the White House. You're going to suffer through 8 years of this crap.
Yeah.
And Big Mike bitched about it the whole time.
Right.
And you don't want to go back. But that 15-bedroom house on Martha's Vineyard that's defying all climate change odds.
It's a terrible investment if you believe in the climate change.
I mean, they got chefs' bodies floating 100 feet from the door, right next to the paddleboard. But if we tell you to do it, you're going to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably right. It's just you got to imagine if you're Michelle Obama, you're like, why in the world would I go back to the White House? I'm living the time of my life here on Martha's Vineyard. And by the way, my husband is still controlling things. That's the thing, is like, I do believe that Barack Obama and his, clan are already still controlling things.
Damn, girl, you just went there.
Well, not Ku Klux. I'm just...
I got a posse. It ain't the Ku Klux.
Not Clan with a K.
My head popped. I think I had an aneurysm right there.
Well, you said I was going to get you in trouble.
That was funny.
So, I mean, he already, in my opinion, is the one who's calling the shots anyway. So for Michelle, you would imagine that she's thinking, well, I mean, why would I want to move myself there when we're already the ones in control? We're already the ones in power. It doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody, and we're still going to be the ones who are calling the shots.
Yep, I think so. And Michelle does have a power play. If she really didn't want to do it, she could say, I know the secrets.
Yeah.
If I wanted to.
Right.
I don't think she ever would, but I know the secrets.
Right.
But these people also know how to they know how they can be disappeared.
Yeah, because they all are, they have mutually assured destruction.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they all know each other's secrets. They all know where the bodies are buried. Take that literally if you'd like. And so they all kind of have this evidence against one another that I guess maybe means they all know they're never going to use it.
Yeah. And mutually assured destruction. I think that's a good way to put that. Yeah. I think that's a fair assessment.
I mean, it's like, well, you want to go public with what you know about me. You've done the same thing. And so I can just go public with what you've done. And then it becomes a stalemate.
So here's another thing that I wrote. First, the Democrats wanted us to ignore what was happening and be okay with the rising cost of vegetables. And now they want us to ignore what is happening and vote for a vegetable.
Yeah. Yep.
I don't think Joe drops out.
He certainly is. I mean, listen, if Joe was going to drop out at all, it would have been right after this debate. What has he done since then? He's digging in like bad. I mean, you've got tweets now on the record of him saying, let me be clear. Let me make this as clear as I possibly can. I am the nominee. I am running. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be the Democrat running for president. And it's like, I don't know how you walk back from that.
No, I don't know. I don't know how either. But, I had this scenario in my head. This is something I've never done. I'm going to look up Rob Reiner. Because he's another one who has called for Joe to step down. He says, my friend George Clooney has clearly expressed what many of us have been saying. We love and respect Joe. Oh. We acknowledge all he has done for our country, but democracy is facing an existential threat. So again, destroying democracy.
Your guy. Right.
We need someone younger to fight back. Joe Biden must step aside. Mom, I'm sorry, but I responded to Meathead and I said, so, fuck the primaries, fuck the delegates, fuck the process. The Hollywood elites have spoken.
Yeah. Yes.
These people really do believe that they are the ones in control of it all.
Oh, I mean, they also think they know much better than you, the average American who is struggling to just pay your bills.
Yeah. So.
That's incredible. But don't worry, Chad. They really care about democracy. They really care about the people, the power of the people being able to choose who they want to represent them, which is, of course, you and I would argue we obviously don't have a democracy. But that's what democracy means.
Yeah.
Power to the people. Power to the people so much so that we want to imprison our guy's political opponent so you don't actually have a choice.
Right.
Power to the people.
So here's one of the responses. This is how unhinged the progressive left is. How stupid. I mean, ignorant. Absolutely. You want to talk about a threat to democracy. Mm-hmm. The fact that there is a vegetable who today is having his big boy press conference.
Oh, my gosh.
They literally said, your big boy.
I could not believe they said that.
He's going to have a big boy meeting.
Multiple people in his cabinet, within his administration, used that same language.
Yeah.
That was a chosen talking point. Imagine that. That's a chosen talking point. They get together and they say, you know what we'll call it? People are already having problems with Joe Biden's competency. I know. We'll call it a big boy press conference.
So here's my thing. You want to talk about a threat to democracy? Joe's not running anything. Joe, the only thing running with Joe is what's in his diaper. Okay, Joe is running nothing.
Right.
But people have consistently said you're voting for the administration. Tell me one person in the administration, aside from Kamala Harris, who's vice president, who is an elected official.
They're not.
They're not. They're appointed. They're bureaucrats.
That is what we call, Chad, the deep state.
Yeah. So when you say we're not voting for Joe and his senility, we're voting for the administration, you're literally saying, F the Constitution, F the process. We're going to, the thing that's made America a wonderful, the greatest nation ever in the history of man, that process, you're going to ignore that and say, we're going to let unelected bureaucrats run the show. That, to me, undermines democracy.
I mean, well, you say to me, that obviously undermines democracy if we are going by the true definition and interpretation of what democracy means. Of course that undermines democracy.
And to be clear, because I can see people in the comments, and you're already talking, and you're like, we're not a democracy.
I already said that.
We understand.
I get it.
Trust me, when we use words, you understand we are a constitutional republic, but we are also a democracy. There are both things at play. We utilize the democratic process.
Right.
Now, the way the left is using it is wrong. So I'm using their terminology. But even by their definition, what they're saying is a hypocritical violation and a contradiction to their logic.
To their own logic, right.
And so just a little disclaimer there, because I know you people will love to talk about how you're so knowledgeable. We're not dumb either.
I mean...
We'll play dumb for clicks.
I mean, Chad's not dumb.
We'll play...
The jury's still out on me.
Stop. You should show everybody that picture you sent me on Independence Day.
It's on my Instagram.
I know it is. Everybody go Sara Gonzales, Texas, and see it. Click, 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 click. Look at that. Whoa, nice bikini. Hey. We all know you're a man, too.
That is a rumor.
So here's one from I don't know. I can't. These people.
Don't give them credit.
This is a verified thing with 17,000 followers. Anyway, Rob, you need to stop now. Joe will not renounce. Continue on this path, and you're doing Trump's work for him. Listen to this. FDR was elected on his deathbed. Have some faith and get back on the team and bring that money.
No.
He literally used
FDR.
An invalid Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who they hid his infirmity, hid his handicap, hid his decline. They didn't want anybody knowing he was even in a wheelchair.
Right. Wow.
And they said FDR was elected on his deathbed.
So that's what we want now? That's what we're striving for. Let's elect people on their deathbed.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong? And remember, this is, of course, the party of we can't have more old white men. Right? That's what they said.
That's what they said.
That's what they said.
Do you know how many people called me a bigot on your show the other day for what I said about you can't, Kamala.
Right.
They wanted a woman of color.
Right.
Now they're trying to replace a woman of color with...
They're stuck in the DEI hire cycle.
They're stuck.
Yeah.
You're in there. You created the rules. That's your house of cards.
Right.
You created the framework, and now you can't operate in that framework.
Right.
You built a maze that you can't get out of.
And they said, she's not a DEI hire. Really? Explain to me why she was one of the first people to drop out in like a 20-person primary.
Didn't even make it to Iowa.
Nobody liked her. And now all of a sudden she's not a DEI hire.
Polled less than 1%, didn't even make it to the Iowa caucus. And she was a DEI. Her everything, she was affirmative action.
Yeah.
With all of her education.
Yeah.
She put every black man in Central California in jail if he ever tasted weed. Got a little puff.
Except Montel Williams and Willie Brown.
Yeah, that was another smoking thing. Smoking another doobie on that. Whole other thing. You don't get high on that. You go low. Like on your knees.
Oh, really? I didn't get that.
Yeah, did you get that?
Thanks for the added
there's
visual.
some thick people out there that didn't know if that was a oral sex euphemism.
It was.
It was. But yeah, they want to undermine the whole thing. And to say stuff like this is like, oh, just screw the system. Screw the thing that's always worked. So when you say a threat to democracy, they don't mean that. They don't care about democracy. They care about power.
Yes.
Nancy Pelosi once said that the divide in the Republican Party showed weak leadership and poor policy ideas. Well, those words kind of didn't age well for the Democratic Party, did they?
No. And honestly, I love to see it.
Yeah.
Because it really has for so long. It has been the Republicans who fight their battles out in public. We're constantly, going at each other's throats. We can't get anything passed along, just party lines where all of the Republicans vote for something because you've got a couple of them who are like, oh, well, we don't agree. And it's like, guys, can you just get in line? And so for so long, it's always been our side. And now we're just watching the left totally devour each other. And honestly, I'm here for it. I love to see it.
So let's talk about Republicans for a minute, because I'm not a fan of them. Not a fan of Republicans. I don't like the Republican Party.
I don't consider myself a Republican at all.
I don't like it. No, I don't either.
No.
I have no party affiliation.
No.
None whatsoever. So apparently the RNC, as they approach this convention, has taken the abortion stance off of the platform. There's a lot of pushback on that, and they've said, okay, we're not going to do that, which is a move that I don't particularly like.
I don't either.
But let me back up on that. It's not that I don't particularly like it. I really don't like it. I think you have to have a stance on that, and my stance is very anti-abortion. In fact, the abortion issue is the reason, since even from the age of 18 years old, for me, is why I have always moved in the conservative side of things, to be a voice for the innocents who don't have a voice. So that being said, would you think that it's because they're trying to really double down on the idea, as Trump has said, that he wants to make this a state issue and not a federal issue?
Maybe, but I still disagree with the logic.
Agreed.
I mean, they're going to say that we want birth control taken away. That, they're already going to say that we are the most extreme people ever on this position. They are already going to call us all of the names that they were going to call us before. So we might as well have a strong position on it. And again, even for your own people, make your position clear. Be willing to put it on paper. That's totally fine. And by the way, if your position is let the states choose, I disagree with it personally, but I'm not mad about it. It's literally what the Supreme Court said, right? Yeah. So that's just you saying, as I'm Donald Trump, right? That's just me saying, I like how I like the checks and balances. This is how our country was supposed to work, was supposed to operate. The Supreme Court takes something and they determine whether or not it's constitutional, and I can't override that. So that's literally us saying, hey, we care about democracy. Remember, we care about the checks and balances. We care about why this country was founded and by whom and the founding values. So I don't hate that. I don't agree with it, but I think that it's a reasonable position to take. And so I just wish that they would just put it on the record. Yeah. What are you afraid of? They're already going to, I mean, you heard, what was it? I can't remember if it was a debate or an interview that Donald Trump was doing where he was asked about the abortion pill, mail-in abortion pill or whatever. And he clarified, he was like, I'm not trying to take this away from people. You guys keep accusing me of I'm not trying to do that. Do you think that's going to stop the left from saying that? Do you think because it's not in the RNC platform that the left is just going to stop saying they want to take away your birth control? Of course not. They're just going to say they just don't want you to know that that's what they plan to do. They're going to do it in secret because that's how dictators work. I mean, they're already going to have this framework that they're going to accuse us of doing all these things. So we might as well just be willing to put our ideas on paper.
And they've even taken the Project 2025 thing to the point where now they're calling it Donald Trump's Project 2025.
Right.
Like they slip. You know, they control the language and they just start to slip.
Yep.
The rhetoric slides over until, okay, it was Donald Trump endorsed. He believes in Project 2025. This is Donald Trump. It probably wants to push this, and now it's Donald it belongs to him.
Yeah.
Now there's a possessive apostrophe there.
All intentional. Mm-hmm. All totally intentional. Which, by the way, if I'm Donald Trump, I mean, he came out the other day and said, I have no idea. It's funny in his very Donald Trumpian way. He's like, I have no idea what this is. I've not heard of it. I don't really necessarily agree with it, but I wish them the best of luck.
Wish him luck.
Okay. I mean,
I'm going to distance myself, but you know what? I wish you well, Jelaine. I don't know. She's a horrible human being. I wish her the best. You know, when Ghislaine Maxwell went to jail, that's basically saying, I hope she doesn't get hung by a shoestring or something like that. But Yeah, which are the best? But the Project 2025 thing, if I understand that right, because I honest to God don't. I don't pay attention to this stuff. I'm a culture guy. I'm not a political guy. I really wish people understood that. I'll talk politics,
Says
but
the
only
guy
to
who
the
ran for
degree.
governor.
To the degree that I know how it influences culture. That's my thing and how it fits in my worldview. So my deal there is, if I understand it right, it's the Heritage Foundation.
Yes.
And it is kind of a melting pot or a collection plate of policy ideas from like 150 different sources.
Yes, it is their vision that they have put on paper for how Republicans should implement policy should they be back in control of things.
Yeah.
Is my understanding of it.
Did you see the exchange between what's the little Jewish guy with Daily Wire?
Ben Shapiro.
Ben Shapiro and Eric Swalwell.
Oh, it was so good.
But he did that. Yeah, he really owned Swalwell.
Yeah.
Swalwell is one of those guys. He's got the most punchable face.
He really does.
The most punchable face because
Yeah.
he's so smug and arrogant. And he's not that bright.
No.
And he really walked into. I mean, Shapiro owned him on that. So basically, he was talking about Project 2025, and he said, "Well, let me." He goes. Shapiro said, "I'm really not that familiar with the whole thing." And so, he's like a little mouse that squeaks real fast. And I'm not familiar with the whole thing. I'm a super smart guy, so whatever.
Do you know I heard a little rumor about Eric Swalwell on Capitol Hill.
Yeah?
Yeah, you want to hear it?
I do. Of course I do.
That he has a foot fetish.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
This is a true story. I mean, it's a true story that I heard it. I have not independently confirmed this for myself.
Wow.
But that's the rumor.
Wow.
Yeah, so who knows what he did with Fang Fang.
Some foot. He did the foot with Fang Fang. Yeah.
So take that for what it is.
Painted
That grosses you out, huh?
It really does. It really does.
Chad, sometimes when I'm wearing like open-toed shoes, I'll see Chad like just glance down in the direction of my feet, and I feel like he gags.
I'm not gagging. I'm just.
And my feet are like I
don't care.
I know that. I just wanted to make the point. Like I don't have nasty-looking feet. You just.
I like it when you're wearing those boots that cover them all up.
I know.
You'd be rich if you didn't have a shoe fetish. You'd be a wealthy woman.
That's true. Well, I do this cute little thing.
She is a wealthy woman. Don't be fooled.
Well, I do this cute little thing where I either spend like $10 on my shoes or like $1,000, and there's no in between.
And they both hurt your feet. Yeah. They both hurt your feet. But that little exchange, he was basically reading. Because Ben said, and we joke, we know Ben. Ben said, I'm not that familiar with, the policies of, the Heritage Foundation in 2025, whatever it is. He goes, I'm not familiar with it. And he goes, well, let me read some of the points to you. And he's kind of putting him on the spot. He said, do you believe in limiting, bureaucry? Yes. He goes, and Swalwell goes, well, I do too. And he goes, do you believe in,
efficiency of
government? And yeah, I do too. He goes, do you believe in your tax money, should be used wisely and shouldn't be overtaxed? Yeah. And he goes, me too. And Ben goes, welcome to the Republican Party. Yeah. Congratulations on becoming a Republican.
Well, and then Eric Swalwell said, my parents would be proud. And I'm like, your parents are Republicans? Wow. Maybe it wasn't their fault.
They didn't beat that ass. Should have beat that ass. So, I don't know. We're up against the narratives. And I say all that because of your point. They're going to go ahead and accuse you anyway.
Yeah.
You're going to be all the names. You're going to be all the things. So back on the pro-life debate, okay, Donald Trump, there is no way for you to ever be palatable to the retarded left. You can't be. So don't be.
Right.
Which is why, and I have some people who push back on me when I say Donald Trump is not a good conservative. Now, he's going to fight for the things that have made America a great nation from the perspective of free market capitalism, letting people do what they need to do to succeed without the government's interference.
Right.
If we can find a way around paying certain taxes on these real estate deals. I mean, there's so many celebrities that have used Donald Trump's created loopholes on their mansions and condominiums and penthouses and all these things. And so that's the kind of thing, I think that's what appeals to the blue-collar guy under a car in Ohio while he's changing the oil. He's like, hey, here's a guy who may not have all the same conservative values that I believe in, But he's at least willing to fight for the system that gave me the right to believe in them.
Yeah, I agree with you. He's not a strong conservative. I don't believe that. I don't think anyone really believes that. But I mean, look at what we're up against here. Okay, we're up against, again, a Biden regime that has weaponized every single aspect of the federal government against seemingly half of the population. And it becomes like, any laws that you have on the books become irrelevant if you have a federal regime who is unwilling to prosecute actual criminals and instead go after innocent people, right? I mean, I make the same argument when we talk about places like Austin, where they have this Soros-funded DA, Jose Garza.
Jose Garza. Boy, I love that name.
Yeah.
Sounds like you ought to be playing shortstop for the Twins or something.
So you've got all of these people who, I mean, it's not just Austin, but we'll take Austin as an example. You've got these DAs that are unwilling to prosecute actual criminals who are going out and committing violent crimes. They're let back out on the streets. You have people who are burning buildings down during the Summer of Love and they get their charges dropped. You have people going on to UT campus and breaking the rules, breaking the law. They get arrested and later subsequently get their charges dropped because the DA's office doesn't want to prosecute. And instead, you have him going after, Daniel Perry for a clear case of self-defense. So it doesn't matter. And you could have the strongest laws on the book about whatever, about abortion, about self-defense, about whatever you want it to be. And if you don't have a regime, an administration at the top who is willing to actually prosecute on real crimes, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. None of it matters. If you have DAs who are unwilling to prosecute voter fraud, it doesn't matter. You could have the strongest election integrity laws on the face of the planet. If the person who is responsible for handling that has refused to do so, none of it matters. And so that's why I'm urging people, it doesn't matter what you think about what Donald Trump said about abortion or any of these other, day-to-day policies. If we don't get rid of a regime that is weaponizing every single alphabet agency of the government against half of the population and criminalizing people who are innocent and not criminalizing actual criminals, we have a much greater problem than whether or not the states can choose whether or not abortions happen.
Right. Yeah, and I am enough libertarian to know that on issues such as abortion, although I am 100,000% pro-life, I don't believe you can legislate morality. And I also don't believe it's the government's place to tell you what to do with your medical condition or something you want to do in your private life. Now, again, I think the government should speak up for those that are innocent and try to make it where abortion isn't a convenience like just another form of birth control.
Yeah.
I do believe that's the government's role to protect its citizens, and the unborn is a citizen.
Our founding documents say we all have the right to life.
That's exactly right.
That's
so it is but now at the end of the day to say, well, if this woman's having, and again, they go to the extreme examples,
right.
And none of us are saying, hey, this woman has an ectopic pregnancy. There's a crisis here. The doctors need to be able to do something about this.
Every single law allows that to happen.
Every law allows that to happen. So that's a bunch of bullshit that they kind of float out there for everybody to get
scare women.
Or like when Gavin Newsom released that commercial, I guess it was about, this is what it's like in Texas when those girls are trying to get across the state line and the cop pulls them over and, oh God.
I think that was Alabama.
Was it?
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
It was Alabama.
Yeah.
It was Alabama.
So funny.
And it's funny. Those girls had pretty teeth for Alabama, but say that all my kids are in Alabama.
Roll Tide.
See, you know what? This is over. You know what? This is done. I'm fixing to leave like Glenn Beck left Brian Stelter. This is over. I'm taking my earpiece out and walking out in my artist smock. Glenn's an artist. A lot of people don't know Glenn's an artist. Do you remember that Stelter interview where he sat down and Stelter pissed him off?
Yes.
And Glenn's out there. This is how much Glenn cared about the interview with Brian Stelter. Is he's still got his painting smock on. He didn't even bother to take the apron off. And he's like, gives him a minute, and then he's like, I'm out. I'm done. I think he'd made up his mind he was going to do that anyway. Say Roll Tide one more time, Bish. Did it hurt? Hey, have you had adverse reactions to your injections?
What?
Have you had any adverse reactions to your injections?
What injections?
Botox, fillers, I don't know. You thought I was going to ask a vaccine question, didn't you?
I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. I was waiting for an Alabama joke.
No. Well, I mean, anything that can be made prettier should be. Just ask anybody in Alabama. Get some of those fillers. But you're not from Alabama.
I'm not.
Show them the back of your phone.
Well, it's
Show
coming.
the camera.
It's coming off.
Look at this.
I keep
The
telling
devil.
Steven I need a new one.
The Devil's College, right?
Well,
there.
he graduated from there, so I married into it.
You're a UT girl.
I am. And
Texas,
our game room,
not Tennessee.
Yes, and our game room is like, I would say it was supposed to be half and half Texas stuff and half Alabama stuff. It's more like a 75-25 Alabama. He's just taken over.
Do you know what level of vomit that is to have half crimson and half burnt orange in one room?
I didn't say that the color scheme looks good.
Hawk Tua. I got to quit saying that phrase. Anyway.
That's why your mom says, "Oh no."
Yeah, I don't think Mom knows what Hawk Tua means. I don't think she's.
I'm not going to explain it.
I don't think she's done a deep dive.
Okay,
I'm sorry. That was a bad pun. That was
Mom. Don't do a deep dive.
Here we go.
Please don't. Just leave it. Please.
Blood of Jesus, cleanse me. Help me, Lord. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, injections. No, seriously, the pro-life thing with when they're doing that kind of propaganda, that's a bunch of BS.
Yeah.
And again, they're going to say whatever they're going to say about it. So just come out. Here's our platform.
Right.
And that's where we're going to be. So,
right. Well, I mean,
but they left it off, and I hate that they did that.
I do too. I think
it's a bad move. I think it's a slippery slope, and definitely a slide in the wrong direction of where the future of our country needs to go.
I agree. I don't think that we need to be caving on abortion, specifically when we had a huge Supreme Court victory. Like, why cower down now? We had a huge Supreme Court victory that was because of Donald Trump. He should be 100% owning that every chance he gets. You had 50 years of bad case law that was overturned by my picks for Supreme Court justices. Like, that's huge, right? So just take that, own it, have your position, let it be clear on abortion, also on the whole LGBT stuff.
Right.
Like, let's be clear what we'll tolerate and what we won't.
Yeah.
And let the chips fall where they may.
Well, there's a clip, and what I say is we need to battle that stuff rather than changing our policy or our platform or our values to try to reflect something that will appease a certain group of people.
Yes.
Is show them Joe Biden testifying in 1994 in the Senate about how he said Roe v. Wade was not a good constitutional policy whereby you should be, no one is using that to defend these rights.
Right.
Even he said that.
Yep.
So let's remind them that even the people in the Democratic Party at one point in time were very, by today's definition, very pro-life.
Right.
Safe, legal, and rare. Remember that deal?
Yeah.
We've gone from that to shout your abortion to taking a Plan B pill on TV while you're being interviewed. and here's the deal. Not only that Roe v. Wade is overturned, but the fact that there's a God watching and you're going to, you're basically reaping destruction upon a nation by continuing to water down something this evil and just ignore it, turn a blind eye to it. I don't know. I don't like it. I don't like it. It's a good thing I ain't God.
I would say so.
I'd smoke some folks. Poof.
Let's just say people would be very fearful that a bolt of lightning would strike them at any time.
Yeah. I'd hit them in slow motion, too, so they felt it. You know what I'm saying? That bolt of lightning would do like a show. They'd see it coming. And no matter where they ran, it would just be following. They'd be like, and it would just kill them like an electric fence. Like they just can't let go of the electric fence.
Yeah.
And you just watch them cook until they turn to ash.
Well, that would be fun.
So it gives them a minute to change their mind.
Right. I mean, now it's too late, but they might change their mind.
Yeah. Yeah. That made me lightheaded. Everything makes me lightheaded.
Does it?
You're such a pretty woman.
Thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
Thank you.
I'm glad you were able to accomplish that in life.
I appreciate that.
Not everybody does. Not everybody gets to do that.
That's true.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
How do you get those little streamers in your hair? Like the little glitter things?
Yes. So
I was at a thing, Independence Day, and some of the girls they had women. I was at a party and they had some women who came over to the house specifically to put that in all the girls' hair.
Really? So
They had a little streamer party.
Yeah, streamer party. Well, the way that I do it is that they have little beads, and so you put the streamers in the bead, and then you put the bead on your hair, and then they crimp the bead down, so the bead stays in your hair.
Is that what you got?
Yeah.
Does that go off in a metal detector, or can you fly with that?
Actually, you can fly with it, but it probably would like show up on the. It's not metal, but it probably would show up on the little X-ray thing that they give you.
Well, I got into my friend's house, and it was their party, and I had forgotten they had told me these people were coming to do that to everybody's hair.
Because you were thinking about getting it done too?
Yeah, well, I made a joke about it, but I opened up the door, and these ladies were coming out with tables and little stools and all this kind of stuff, and I said, let me threw my stuff down, and I helped them get all their stuff to the car. And
what a gentleman.
I am a gentleman.
You are.
And there were two women. One recognized me, the other one didn't, and the other one was kind of like, "Oh my God," I was like, "I'm just helping you get your stuff to your car," and I didn't realize like what all that stuff was. I was like, "Is this like a massage table?" I mean, like they were like,
"Right."
No, we were putting.
I don't know why you'd need a
foil in people's hair
table to do that, but.
Well, I think they had their crap on it.
They must, yeah, okay.
And then they had them sitting on the little low stools, and they were standing over them.
Yeah.
Doing the whole thing. But all the girls, they had their little thing. And then all the girls at the party, they were all putting lotion on that had glitter on their bodies.
Oh, is that coming back?
I don't want it to. and then some of them had big glitter. Like they were rubbing like mud glitter.
Oh.
And I was like, stop this.
Yeah,
Stop.
that's weird.
See, you women, y'all do this crap just for each other.
That's true.
Because no dude wants to rub around on you naked and walk away
with glitter, looking like he just went to the strip club. Right. No, they don't want that, actually.
I've never been to a strip club, Mom. I've never gazed upon the shapely form of a naked lady.
Listen, I just mean from movies. That's what it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is. That's how I can tell.
But yeah, they were glittering up.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was like, okay.
It's like some 90s stuff.
Yeah, and then they had like spray glitter.
No.
And I was like, how much sparkle could you people put on?
Yeah, that's too much.
It was like spraying the glitter.
I realize it sounds very hypocritical for me to say that's too much sparkle. Like, it's not lost on me.
Yeah,
that's coming from me.
You got more flair than Jennifer Aniston's suspenders at the TGI Fridays in Office Space. You're pretty flared up.
Yeah, I understand.
You like sparkly things.
I do like sparkly things. Mm-hmm. That is a fact.
Yeah, I think you women do all that stuff for each other. But I will say this.
Well, for me, too. Like, I have so many men who will comment on my choice of clothing or appearance or hair or whatever, and I'm like, I don't dress for you. Okay. I do it because I like it.
Okay.
I like how I look in this.
And to be honest, they like it too.
Well, they sure have a lot to say about it whenever they don't like it.
I mean, people hate my cowboy hat. That's why I keep wearing it.
Do people like my hat?
That's a good-looking hat. You can get it at prathertees.com. While supplies last, because those will never come back. Those specific hats will never come back because it takes about 9 months for them to be made.
Golly.
And it's an expensive hat to manufacture because there's a lot of detail to it that you can't see right now. But it's a private labeled hat that we had made. And
it's so good, though.
When they're gone, they're gone.
You want it.
We'll do more y'all hats, but they won't be of that quality. Well, I'll say they'll be of quality, but they won't be.
They won't be the exact same.
They won't have that detail, like even on the inside of the hat.
Yeah.
Prathertees.com. Why do you think progressive, lefty, liberal women are so ugly?
I don't know how to answer that.
I have theories.
I actually do have a theory. Because they're miserable people, and when you're so miserable on the inside, I feel like sometimes it just exudes.
Just oozes
misery.
out of the pores?
Yeah. You can't control it.
Something to be said about that.
Yeah. I think just being miserable on the inside just makes you ugly.
And you just, like, I've seen some of these transformations of these beautiful, beautiful girls.
Yeah.
And they start embracing an ideology, which is leftist, and then they really transform into something grotesque. Mm-hmm. I mean that, grotesque. It's like not, like they really do what they can to make themselves as ugly as possible.
Yeah. But
I have a couple of theories.
Okay.
Well, I mean, first of all, I think beauty is about balance. Mm-hmm. And I think that worldview is very imbalanced. If you believe, if you have no real belief system, if your emotions are your guiding principle and facts and truth don't matter, then that's an imbalance. And I think that does manifest in your physical characteristics as well. You want the entropy of things sort of falling apart to reflect on the outside the way they are on the inside. And they know they're falling apart. Look at the Democratic Party right now with Joe Biden. They know they're falling apart.
Yeah, they do.
It's being exposed from the inside out.
Yeah.
See, that's the difference. As a side note, we have been trying to get me in focus, Daddy. Get me in focus, Daddy, because I'm pontificating. All right, let me tuck my fat in. I mean, it's hard for me to call people ugly when I'm doing this, Sarah, when I got my little tubby tub going on. But it's a cute little tubby tub.
It is cute.
It's a cute little tubby tub.
It's just something to hang on to.
Nobody wants to hang on to it anymore, though. I got nobody.
Please.
I got nobody.
You got a long line of women just waiting for the opportunity.
I don't want women. I don't want anybody anymore, ever again. My heart belongs to me and God. That's it. You can have a little piece of it.
Okay, fine.
You can put it on the shelf over there on the crimson side of the game room. Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Screw them all.
Wow.
Go
and to
Dogs.
think I've ever rooted for your team.
Have you?
Yes.
Go Dogs. Here's my thing. So where we have been trying to expose the Democratic Party, we've been trying to expose them from the outside in. So we look at them and say, can y'all not see what's happening here? What's exposing them is an inside-out revelation because now their inner working people are going, oh, this is not good. This ain't going to work.
Right.
So I think that happens to people too. If you got bad ideology, bad stuff going on inside of you, no real firm root system, then you don't have anything of substance to express your identity. You've lost so much of your identity on the inside that now the outward identity to the world becomes chaotic as well. And I think that's what happens. So I'm going to make my hair purple. I'm going to shave it all off. I'm going to, gain 150 pounds. I'm going to run around with a burqa on my face and my floppy pancake orangutan titties hanging out. And that's what they're doing. Or I'm so miserable and I so want to be seen that I'm going to let some dude perform fellatio on me at a pride parade in San Francisco for everybody. And, I'm going to swing my tallywhacker around with kids around. And all this expression of immorality that they do is because there's chaos on the inside.
Makes sense.
And I think that's what happens. These people have no framework. They have no moral framework. They have no grounding. There's no anchor in there. And so it becomes the second law of thermodynamics. It's entropy. Everything in motion tends to fall apart. And so it's chaos. It's everything inside of them is banging together like, a pile of marbles in their brain.
No, I think your theory is a lot smarter than mine.
That's why conservative women are hot.
Yeah.
Conservative women are way better looking. That's why, to a guy like me, that's why these whatever you want to call them, trad wives, trad women, the traditional women that with the Christian foundations or whatever, they can put on their sundresses and cover up everything, and the only thing you see is their ankles or whatever. And I'm like, these girls are still pretty freaking hot.
Yeah.
They're still good-looking women. And that's one of the things where I'm like, hey, make sure your framework stays in place, and no matter if they call you a racist or a bigot or a misogynist or a xenophobe or a transphobe or Nazi, all these things, I'm still secure in who I am.
Exactly.
And that exudes.
Exactly right.
I'm not confused in my identity. I'm comfortable in my skin. And so that's going to bear out. I think there's something attractive about that.
Yep.
But we as a culture have gravitated to ugly.
Yeah, it's sad. Ugly and fat.
Ugly and fat. And as a person who has battled weight, you've battled weight. My mother on the phone the other day, what's up, Mom? My mom hates when I quote her. She's like, she's still paranoid, man. But my mother said, do you know that Sarah had a weight problem once upon a time? I was like, oh, she's a big old girl. I said, Mom, she made a thing about it.
Yeah.
For a long time about when she was young. She had...
Oh, yeah, I was big.
She had a donk.
I lost 100 pounds.
100 pounds. Welcome to the conservative side.
Sadly for me,
I really can't say anything. I don't even like this water. It's disgusting to me.
Hydration is not your thing.
It's not. My body's a landfill. It's been treated like a late-night dive tavern. It's not even swept up. Just open it back up for business tomorrow. You know what I mean? Just come on. Just let the dishes pile up. But you lost 100 pounds?
I did. It took me 2 years. Yeah, because a lot of people are like, oh, you just had a surgery. I did not. I did it the good old-fashioned way. So it took me 2 years, but I did.
Didn't eat.
Yeah, I just threw up after.
Or threw it up.
I'm kidding.
Yeah. You can look at her teeth and know that she didn't do that.
Yeah.
I made that joke to my mother. I said, well, she throws everything up. Mom goes, her teeth are too good. I was like, women immediately know. Like, I think
so
every
funny.
woman has had body issues. And the fact that now there's so much of this, don't be fat shaming and body positivity and you can't dare say anything like that. That even reflects this idea of anything goes and we're just going to call things attractive that aren't.
Right.
Or healthy that aren't.
Yeah, and that's the bigger problem is I'm not going to lie to someone and say that a lifestyle is healthy. That's not, and you can't say that if you are obese that is good for your body. That is scientifically unhealthy for your body. It makes your joints work harder. It makes everything have to work harder. It makes your heart have to work harder. Yeah. And so they're like, oh no, don't fat shame. Don't know. I think maybe we need more of that in the world.
We need more shame.
Yeah.
In the world,
more shame all around.
We should. I mean, they try to shame us.
Right.
Just go read the comments.
Right.
They try to shame us. They can't believe that we think the way we think.
You want to save babies? Oh, my God, the horror.
How dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you want to have, an emphasis
Greta
on the
Thunberg.
nuclear family? You want the father to stay at home?
How dare you?
You want women to have the ability to stay at home and raise their children while the husband goes out and provides? You son of a bitch! It's the truth, boys. How are we on time? We good? We good? We're an hour in. I like it. We should have a regular show. We should almost, like on most Monday nights, do a live together on YouTube. That would be a phenomenal.
We should do that.
Yeah. We should get back to doing it.
Yeah.
We took a couple of weeks off. I've been on the road.
There's been a lot going on.
A lot. A lot going on. Sara Gonzales, Unfiltered, The Blaze. You like your new format? I like it.
I do.
I'm the world's worst interviewer because I'll ask you a question and answer it.
And then answer it? No, you're a great interviewer.
I'm horrible.
Well, your answer didn't affect my answer, but I do like it a lot.
You still like being at The Blaze?
Yes.
This is provocative journalism right here, Mom. Yeah, it's still family over there. They're all right. They ever talk about me? No. Nobody ever
you were
mentions.
Just on my show.
Yeah, nobody talks about me.
Well, other than me, no. I'm kidding.
That's it.
Kidding.
What's funny is The Blaze was like, we want you to still be a contributor over here. And I'm like, I'll be happy to do that. I'll still come in, once a month. I'll do something connected with The Blaze. I'd love to because it helps me promote what I'm doing too. The only person in 7 months of doing that who has had me on anything is you. So thanks, Sara.
You're welcome.
Thanks for letting me live up to my obligation as a Blaze contributor.
I'm just here to make sure that you carry out your contractual obligations, sir.
I think you're like a plant. You're a spy to make sure that I stay in line or something like that.
If I was a spy, your career would have been over a long time ago.
Oh, boy, howdy. I was making a joke about that with Dave Landau, who is also on The Blaze, and I said, man, if they ever read me and Sara, if they ever read our text messages, we'd be in trouble. And I say that as a joke, but then I was like, maybe I should stop saying that because people are like, what are they saying? It's the same stuff you're saying. Trust me.
Right.
We just make fun of people.
Yeah.
We like to make fun of people.
It's true.
I don't like that about myself. Look at me trying to lie. Trying to lie is the best fun ever. You have been pretty involved, and what I was thinking about this morning, because I always try to when I'm thinking about you, Sara, and that's all the time. When I'm thinking about you, things will pop into my head, and I was like, there's certain things like I'm like as close as we are. Like I've never been to your home.
Yeah, I've invited you many times. I just like
I don't
want
want
to be clear.
I don't want to.
You always say no.
I don't want to go. I want to live in my own little imagination of what your home is like, and that's the way I want it to be.
Okay.
I've never seen you in person without makeup on. I've seen you in pictures.
Okay.
But I've never in the pictures. You're an attractive woman with or without it. I'll say that. But I've never seen you in person without makeup on.
Yeah, I guess not.
See, there's some things that I'm like, it's worked so far. I don't know why we need to break the trend. But I was thinking about you, and I was like, and how hard you work. Because I was going to take this conversation in another direction, and maybe I will allude to it now, is how work ethic in our society and culture right now has just been lost. Mm-hmm. Content creators want to go viral, and then they want to get paid off of TikTok and Snapchat, and apparently you can get paid on Snapchat. I hear some people making real money on Snapchat. I must check it out.
I don't even have that app on my phone.
I just changed my thing on it. I'd never used it, but I just changed it. I
might start using it now. I like money.
I'm going to investigate. But TikTok, Instagram and all this kind of stuff, everybody wants to go viral and do something like that.
It's a problem.
You never really, with your career, you never, had that viral moment to kick it off.
No.
You've had viral moments since.
Right.
But you didn't, my career kicked off in a way because I was doing it.
Right.
But nobody knew me on television and radio.
Yeah.
But I had a viral moment that kind of kicked off a whole new couple of careers for me. You never had that.
No, I just worked really hard to claw my way to where I am now.
And when she says she worked very hard, she does not mean the Kamala Harris Business School of progress and success.
No. And by the way, just for those who might try to make the connection, I was not married to my husband then. It was not her husband got her the job.
No.
This is how we met. But we didn't know each other before.
You wrote for Red State?
I did. I wrote for Red State, and then I moved over. I got really good numbers there, moved over and wrote for The Blaze for
Dana
a time.
Lash?
Yes, and I started appearing on Dana Lash's show when she was at The Blaze, and then just worked my way up, and I just said, hey, I would really love the opportunity to, communicate on camera rather than on the .com website. I prefer oral communication rather than, verbal communication rather than typed format. And so the opportunity presented itself, and I had worked hard to prove myself, and so I was given that opportunity. So,
you know how they say that men tend to get better looking with age as they mature, and women kind of do the opposite thing.
Yeah.
That's what they say, not me. Sarah, I go back and look at your old stuff, like old clips. You've gotten better at all of it, and you've gotten better looking.
Thank you.
As things have gone on. See, success you ain't ugly, you just broke. That's what they say, right?
Yeah, you're not ugly, you're just poor.
And you were never ugly. I could say things like this to her. You can't. But I mean, it's like the evolution of Sara Gonzales has been fun to watch.
I have grown into my own, and I do. Well, that's why all of these red pill
discovered spray tan.
The red pill movement is very much like, oh, you hit the wall before you're 30 and all of this. And I'm just like, I mean, you guys may think that's the case. I don't really care because I'm happily married, but I think there's something to be said for a woman feeling more confident about who she is and where she's going in life. And I think that, we're talking about the left just exuding ugliness. I think that does, of course, the opposite when you have that confidence and, you know what your purpose is, you know what you're here for. And I just think that sometimes reflects into, outer beauty.
When you say happily married, I've heard all the accusations too about me and you, and I'm like, she and I can never be together.
No.
We first of all, I'm too much of a navel gazer. Like I'm too like, oh, woe is me. People don't know this about me, but I'm like very, and I'll get depressed and whatever. And you're like always putting another name on the assassination list.
That's true.
And you're ready, like, I'm ready to cut this bitch too.
That's true. That's true.
And so you and I would be like nitro meat glycerin.
Oh yeah, no, we could never do that.
No. But this is a fun dynamic. This is 4 feet apart. This works.
Yeah.
This works. But no, I'm so proud of the stuff you've done because you've been behind enemy lines. I love it when people tell you that you need to be out here doing what we do. Oh, okay. You need to be down here at the Capitol.
Right.
Testifying before. Okay, useless.
Right.
Instead, I'm going to put on a wig and some weird clothes, and I'm going to go infiltrate trans pride
and millions,
drag.
And millions more people will know what's actually taking place inside these things, which I would say is, I don't know, a little bit of a contribution there.
Yeah.
It's only led to, actual laws being enacted because we were able to expose what was going on. But hey, I didn't show up at the Capitol, so shame on me. So annoying.
I know, it's true. And then people, the other thing is we were talking about this week, somebody had reached out to you about, which by the way, you guys, if you have an event coming up, if you need a speaker, if you need someone to come in and kind of rally your troops, Sara Gonzales is for hire. She does
not for free.
She doesn't appear for free because I would smack her around if she did that. Not that she doesn't already contribute a lot of her time and energy, efforts, and talents for free to get stuff out there. But if you want her to come in, you should reach out to her because she will. She will. I'm her booking agent, and I want her.
He only asks for 10%.
Because that's the thing that I've been bothered with you more and more, and you and I talk about this, is you need to be doing more live events, more live engagement, because you are an engaging speaker. You're dynamic, and when folks have you in, they love it. And I've encouraged you, like, you need to be doing more and more of this, but you've been so busy, and you are a mom with little ones, and there's a lot going on. But if you're listening and you're like, hey, we want Sara Gonzales to come speak at our, Lincoln dinner or Reagan dinner or our whatever event.
Happy to do it. Just not for free.
But not for free.
Right.
Because we have people from time to time who say, we would love it if you would just show up here. Like we don't have a budget. And I'm like, okay, let me stop you. You're paying for the caterer.
Right.
You're paying the rent on the building. You might want to, if you want somebody to come in and invest in the minds of your people, you might want to invest in the person who's doing the investing. It's just a general principle that I think is wise. Especially
when they say, we really want a celebrity there.
We want a celebrity there, but we want one for free.
Right,
we'll call George Clooney. He just raised $30 million, and he ain't coming for free either.
Right.
So, it's a biblical principle. A workman is worthy of his hire. Don't muzzle the oxen that treads out the grain. And make sure they're taken care of. But we were talking about that. We were laughing about it because we get those messages all the time. And it's not because, again, the idea that people have is they like, if I were in their position, I would go do it for free. Trust me, you would not.
No, you wouldn't.
If you did all the things that we do and have done, and trust me, we do a lot of things with no gratitude and no remuneration. And all of these things we do, if you did all those things, I promise you wouldn't just show up for you. You wouldn't just jump on an airplane, fly to. I mean, I literally have people say, "We're doing this thing in Rhode Island. Please come." Yeah, let me stop everything and just pop on the plane, and or even 3 hours across Texas. Hey, we're doing this thing. You need to show up. I love it when they tell me you need to show up.
Oh. What happens if you don't?
Well, you could shit in one hand and wish in the other. But there's a good chance, like, I'm in studio that day and, really, podcasting is more important than coming to their whatever shootout for veterans and blah, blah. Well, you wouldn't know that I existed if I wasn't in here doing this.
Exactly.
So, yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Because trust me, I do a lot.
And I do have to pay my bills.
I do a lot of events. See, this is the kind of conversation that gets people pissed at us. They're like, yeah, see, now that they're all in it for money. No, it's just we're in it for being good stewards of what God has given us.
Right.
Time, platform, opportunity. You should be a good steward. You don't waste that. It ain't about the money. Trust me, it ain't about the money. It's the principle of the thing.
Exactly. And also, anytime I'm taken away from the way that I provide for my family, I better be willing to justify to them why I'm being taken away from either making money for my family and providing for them or just being present.
Yeah.
Right.
And you're asking, they're saying, hey, come sacrifice. And her kids eat real food now. They're off the tit. So, like, she's not producing anything that feeds those children anymore.
Right.
So for her to take the time, because, you did an event not long ago where it's like, you didn't get home till like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
And because you were texting me, I was like, let me know you're safe, blah, blah, blah. And 3 o'clock in the morning, and then you got to get up.
I'm still waking up. Yep.
Still rocking and rolling.
My kids don't realize that mom didn't get home until late, so maybe we should sleep in.
So you have Sara Gonzales Unfiltered.
Yes.
And then Come and Take It is your once a week?
Once a week, yep. On Tuesdays, we release Come and Take It.
Another podcast.
Yes.
Which is Texas focused.
Yes, Texas Scorecard partners with me to do that one. Because there's just too much going on in the state of Texas. And I realize that my national audience doesn't always care. I would argue that they should.
They should.
But there's a lot to talk about nationally, so I didn't want to get bogged down with the Texas stuff on Sara Gonzales Unfiltered. So we just do it all on Come and Take It.
All right. At Sara, no H, at Sara Gonzales with an S, TX. At Sara Gonzales, TX is the socials. Follow her.
Thank you.
I'm sure if you're watching the show, you already are, but hey.
Let's go eat.
Let's go eat. We have chick food. They catered in chick food. When I say that, it's Panera bread.
Yeah.
Years of traveling, doing television with women production assistants and co-hosts. They always wanted Panera. I think we're going to have Panera today. And I was like, I think you need to kiss my ass. I don't want a bread bowl. I'm thankful for what we have, and we're going to go eat it. Sara, thank you.
Thank you.
I love you. It's not
you.
like people don't see us together often, so this was fun.
Yeah. Have me back. Think about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom, I don't know if she can take it. Anyway, good chat. Thought-provoking stuff. Yeah. Pro-life.
Smart things.
Pro-life. Good-looking conservatives. I like it. All right, guys. WatchChad.com is where the fun stuff is. Catch me out on the road. I'm doing it, man. I'm really doing it. I'm headed to California, Escondido, to speak to the Republican women out there. What could go wrong? Looking forward to being with those gals. Escondido, California. All right. Ratings, reviews, we like them, we love them, drive us up the charts. Do the same thing for Sara. Go to Sara Gonzales Unfiltered as well as Come and Take It. Search those out in your spare time. Find them on the podcast platforms. Leave her a rating and review, and then participate in the shows as well. I love you. We'll always love you. You're family to me. And for those of you out there, we like y'all pretty good too. We really do appreciate you. And until next time, love you. God bless you. Bye.